So it's been about a year since there was a warrant issued out for my arrest, and I had to go turn myself in to the detention center to get booked and processed and then eventually released. And this experience was completely different than I was expecting. It was even very different from what my lawyer was expecting. And I've been wanting to tell the story ever since it happened, and I wasn't able to. But today I can. So I'm going to tell you exactly how it went down, exactly what happened. But before I start this story time, let me tell you the story of my current sponsor, Meta PCs, one of the companies that has stuck with me through all of this BS. With a bunch of Xbox games already on PC, with Game Pass already on PC, with a bunch of PlayStation games coming out for PC soon, now is the time to get a gaming PC. If you want a pre-built laptop or gaming PC, you can get it. If you want to custom build yours, you can get it. If you want it with all the lights and bells and colors and whistles, they'll do that for you too. And look, I used to build my own PCs, but now that I've done Meta PCs, it's the only way to do it in this day and age. It's impossible to track down the computer parts you need to build your own, and if you're able to get them, if something comes in broken, it's impossible to get a restock. Meta PCs not only builds the PCs for you, but then tests it for you as well to make sure everything is running right. That way when you get it home and you open the box, you're ready to play and you're ready to edit. No bullshit. So type in metapcs.com, and while you're shopping there, if you use code Boogie, you'll save 5%, I'll make a couple of bucks, and you'll be supporting the channel at the same time. Go buy a PC, trust me, you'll be glad you did. I think we're all aware of the incident that happened in September of 2020 at this point, where a dude who'd been harassing me for a while showed up at my front door, and I made the stupid decision to allegedly fire a pistol in the air as a warning shot to scare the guy away. After about 5 months, I finally got charged with aggravated assault. And the way they came to that charge was, theoretically, one of my neighbors could have gotten hurt if I fired a pistol in the air, and that bullet had to come down somewhere. There was a chance, however small it may be, that someone could have gotten hurt. And a lot of people have wondered why they took 5 months to charge me instead of charging me right away. And I think it's partially that they were building a case, but I also think it's because they understood my side and everything, and I don't think they were ever going to originally charge me. But we did have several gun-related incidents here in Northwest Arkansas at the about 5-month mark after my incident, and they decided to throw the book at me and everybody else because of that. I think they wanted to look tough on gun crime, which is, a fair thing to do. Now, when I found out I was getting charged, I was actually out of state. I was traveling up in Missouri with my friend Jacob the Carpetbagger, and my lawyer called me in my hotel, and then about 10 minutes later, Keemstar called me in my hotel. He knew that I was getting charged within minutes of my lawyer knowing I'm getting charged, which was always a huge surprise to me. The people who stalk me, the people who are obsessed with me, they must have like Google alerts or something. Like they must be checking the local blotter every day. They knew and alerted Keemstar in the time that it took for my lawyer to know. That's insane. So they gave me 5 days to turn myself in, which is about how long it took because I was in the middle of traveling, right? I still wanted to get some filming done, and then I wanted to get home and rest a day before I went and turned myself in. And it sucked because I had to cut my trip short, but hey, the law doesn't care if you're on vacation or not. Now, my lawyer was under the impression this was going to be a really easy thing. Go in, sit at a desk, fill out some paperwork, and then come back home. What should have tipped us off that it was not going to be that was the fact that I had to turn myself in at the county detention center. And they do things very differently there. My lawyer told me I could bring a book to read while I was there, to bring my daily medications because there was a chance I would need them, but not to bring all the bottles, just to bring that day's dosage. He told me to bring a card he had given me with his phone number on it, as well as the bail bondsman's phone number on it. And I dressed pretty much the same way I normally dress, which is a pair of sweatpants, t-shirts, and this is before I started wearing Crocs all the time. This is back when I still wore mostly tennis shoes, so I was wearing tennis shoes. I got to the detention center at 6 a.m. to turn myself in, and I stood out in the freezing cold for a while until eventually they let me in, and boy, did they process me. The weirdest thing is that the two people that were in the middle of processing me, one of them was a younger guy in training, and he recognized me from YouTube and was actually really, really nice to me. So I probably got a better jail experience than the average person because that guy was a fan. But they took my book away from me. They took my business card away from me and made me write those phone numbers down on a tiny piece of paper. And they don't even give you a real pen. They give you these little tiny pen cartridges to write with because they're afraid you could use a real pen for a weapon or something along that lines. They also got really mad at me for bringing unmarked medication with me. I should have brought them in the pill bottle. That apparently was not a thing you're supposed to do, but my lawyer had told me to do it. Thankfully, I didn't get any trouble for that. But that's when they undressed me. First off, they took my shoes, and they didn't even give me a pair of slip-on booties like you get in the mental health ward. I was expecting at least that, but instead I walked around the prison all day barefoot. They also took my sweatpants because sweatpants have a drawstring in them. And I guess a drawstring can be used as a weapon, so you can't have those either. And they actually made me wear prison pants. If you ever thought Boogie's too fat to go to jail, he would not be able to do it, you are wrong, because here in Arkansas, they have prison clothes that go all the way up to 8X. They gave me a pair of 5X pants, and I fit fine in those. And by the way, yes, they watch you change your clothes. They check everything. It's kind of like going through airport security, but naked. And that's when I started getting the real prison experience, right? Sir, you must walk with your hands behind your back. Do not speak unless spoken to. Do not move unless you ask permission. They take away all of your rights, which is what prison is, obviously. But they also take away your dignity by patting you down, by checking your crevices, by checking everything, by taking away your clothes, by making you walk around barefoot. It is a dehumanizing experience. I do not recommend it for anybody. Now, fortunately, I was the first one there that day, so I had their undivided attention as they were processing me, as we did the fingerprinting and taking my photos and filling out paperwork. And when it comes to my mugshot, by the way, here's my mugshot up on the screen now. Compare it to this one. This is Josh Duggar from that television show, the reality show, and he got brought up on some charges that I'm not going to say here on the YouTube channel, but he's found guilty of them. But look at the stain. We got processed at the exact same place. I was standing exactly where Josh Duggar was, and woo, he did some messed up stuff. So that was awkward. Something that struck me as odd, by the way, is they never read my Miranda rights to me, but I did sign a bunch of paperwork. So statistically speaking, my Miranda rights was probably in there at some point. But apparently that's a thing you won't always expect to hear when you're turning yourself in a situation like that. So that's something you should probably know as well. So eventually this bullpen area started getting really full, and that was nerve-wracking and terrifying for me. And eventually an officer walked up to me and said, "We would like to put you in a cell temporarily. We're moving some dangerous people through here. We would like to keep you safe. Would you follow me to a cell, sir?" And I'm like, of course, obviously, like, I'm in prison. I'll do whatever you tell me to do. This was not a made-for-TV prison cell, by the way. No cute bars or anything like that. This was a concrete room with nothing but concrete and a toilet in it. Even the bench that you're supposed to sit on was just more concrete. And then, of course, there's the giant, massive steel door that I came in. But even that has a window, but that window is sealed off. And I'm in there for like an hour by myself with nothing but time and my thoughts. And that is scary for someone like me. Like, I was thinking all of the worst case scenarios, panicking constantly. I can't imagine what it's like to spend your life in a room like that. Eventually the door opens and I'm thinking, finally I can get out of here. Nope, they are actually adding somebody else to the cell. And it is a fellow prisoner, and that prisoner is irritated and agitated because he was supposed to be transferred that day for a court appearance, and it hasn't happened yet. So obviously I'm worried about the thing that's spreading everywhere at that point. I don't want to be in a small cell with somebody else. But then the fact that this guy is angry and agitated is likewise terrifying. And he immediately just zeroes in on me and starts talking to me. And my lawyer told me, don't make eye contact with anybody else. Don't talk to anybody else. Don't say anything. Don't do anything. But I don't know what I'm doing. So this guy starts asking me questions. I start answering them. The guy first tells me his story and gets more agitated as he tells it. And then he asks me, "What are you in here for anyway?" And I'm like, "I don't know, man. Nothing, I guess." Right? Because I'm not supposed to say anything. I'm not supposed to talk about anything. And he goes, "Oh, I guess you're too good for this place then, huh?" And I'm like, "Buddy, we're all too good for this place. This is dehumanizing. This is degrading. I can't believe we treat even our worst criminals like this. This is fucking awful." I guess that was the right answer because he calmed down immediately. And he was really nice to me from then on out. And I listened to his problems, and in most situations, I'm a good listener, but in that situation, locked in a concrete room with a scary, dangerous criminal, I'm definitely a very, very good listener. And eventually they came to the door to let me out and let me get my phone call. And that was a frustrating experience too, because I guess the guy who was on phones that day was new. So no matter how many times I repeated them the number that I had written down on my piece of paper, he just couldn't get an outside line. We tried for like 45 minutes and I began to panic that I was never getting a hold of my bail bondsman. I was never getting a hold of my lawyer. Even though I knew my lawyer's number was correct and the bail bondsman's numbers were correct, no matter how many times he tried to dial them, it wasn't happening. It just wasn't happening. And this took forever. But finally I got a hold of the bondsman. They were there within an hour, and they finally packed me up and got me moving, took away my prison pants, gave me my street pants, and I was free back out into the world. Thank God. On my way out of the prison, my roommate came to pick me up because I wasn't supposed to drive there that day just in case. There was a couple of YouTubers out there, and they were holding up free boogie signs, which I thought was really nice of them. I wanted to do a soundbite. I wanted to do an interview. I wanted to talk to them because they had their camera ready to go. I even wanted to take a picture with them. My lawyer advised me not to. But if those guys ever see this video, I'm super sorry. I don't know if you were there to troll or if you were there to be nice people, but regardless, I wish I could have given you attention that day. Anytime I meet a fan, anytime I meet somebody who recognizes me, I'm going to spend time with them. That one day I couldn't, and I hope you can understand. It was a really bad day. Probably one of my worst. So that's how I spent a whole 4 or 5 hours in prison, and that was enough to break me. It still really messes with me. For the people who've been in there for days, weeks, months, years, I don't know how you do it. I don't know how you survive it. I guess humans adapt to anything and everything. I don't think that's something I could adapt to. Genuinely. I think it would destroy my mental health, destroy my brain, my body. I think it would be only a matter of time until I piss somebody off and they stab me. I don't think I would survive in jail. I'm not too pretty for jail. I'm too crazy and stupid for jail. And keep in mind, I'm lucky. I'm privileged, right? They could have not given me bail. I could have not been able to afford bail. They could have held me until my trial date, right? I only spent 4 hours in there, but some people aren't lucky as I am, and they have to literally rot in there until their chance for a trial comes up or they cut a deal. And I'm so grateful that I'm in that position where I could afford a good lawyer, I could afford my bail, and they were willing to cut a bail cost with me. So, I'm having an anxiety attack just thinking about it. Obey the laws, kids. You don't want to go to jail. Trust me. Point of this video, obey the fucking law. Very formative experience for me, though. I used to not take certain things very seriously, but now I wear my seatbelt. I don't run red lights or even come close to it. Hell, I don't even jaywalk anymore. And used to, when I saw a police officer, I would smile and wave. Now I just keep my head down, and I don't even look them in the eyes. I don't even want to be on their radar, because they have all the power in the world to just basically ruin your life if they want to. And I really don't want to make them want to, so I'm going to be a very, very good boy. Very good boy. I know cops do get a bad rap, and that's not what I'm trying to do here, by the way. I'm just going to go ahead and say that the ones that protect and serve, thank you for doing it. Thank you for being good cops. The cops that I worked with here and responded to my home, they were fantastic and wonderful and kind, and I'm so grateful for that experience. Not everybody gets that experience, and not everybody is that cop, but for the police who are, you are amazing, sirs and madams. So thank you for doing what you do. And all that said, I'm going to go do some gaming and play some video games after I finish editing this on my brand new Meta PCs. Don't forget to check the link in the description box below. Go to metapcs.com and use code BOOGIE. But until then, as always, guys, thanks for watching. I love you very much, and I will speak with you again soon. Hopefully not from prison.